Welcome to another live oil painting. Let's get started. Today we are going to paint on a 16 by 20 inch canvas, so a little bit larger than usual. There's going to be a landscape, so some trees up here, or at least the top part of a tree, somewhat of a bottom plane for the distant field. And there's going to be a swing, an outdoor swing. I guess all of them are outdoors, but there's a swing over here, and there's the bottom of the swing. There's a hill over here, so this gives us our composition. There's going to be the model's feet over here, part of the dress, model's torso, the model's head, as we said in the beginning with that brush stroke. There's the model's arm, the model's holding onto the swing, shoulder this way, elbow back here. So I like to start these figure drawings with many different techniques, but it depends on the composition. So if the model is kind of just sitting, maybe with their head turned, there's a little ponytail over there, so sitting with their head turned, not a lot of stuff going on, a little bit of a shadow for the hair. So if there's not a lot going on, then I start off kind of with little boxes like this, and these shapes are going to move up and down relative to the composition, depending on how I want to place everything. So hey, Shaboo, Grace, welcome. So I'm gonna move the model's head a little bit higher up. Why not? About right there. So I'm gonna use this as my little guideline for where I'm gonna place the model. And again, head's gonna be over there. Shoulders land over here, arm, corner of the neck, dark for the hair, arm that's holding on right there. So that's a little bit better for the placement. Model's dress, the neck, and the spine. Back here is going to be the shoulder blades, elbow. Now the edge of the swing will make it a little bit larger. Why not? Let the swing take up more of the composition. So this is kind of how I plan things out in terms of the placement. Here's the back side of the rib, bottom. There's going to be a hand somewhere over here. So my anchor point is going to be here. This is my anchor point. In the past, I started on the bottom as the anchor point of the composition, but this is going to be my little anchor point there. Okay, so landscape again is not really going to change. Okay, so bottom part of the dress, shadow for the dress, shadow for the model's back, again shoulder blade, or I want to get all anatomical, the scapula, call it the scapula, whatever, same business. Now we're going in with the dark, just a simple little dark to indicate these things. The canvas was toned prior to the start today with safflower oil, spike lavender oil, and just raw umber and whatever was on my brush. I keep the brushes in a container of linseed oil so that I don't have to use the sink in this tiny apartment. Apartment life, basically. Okay, so placement for that. And distant background over there. Now these are planes of the grass that get closer. There's probably going to be some kind of bush over there. Now let's go ahead and get more specific with the drawing of the model. And I'm going to get this fan brush to just blur this out. And we'll get more specific now. And I'm going to get a different brush, and I'm going to start to put in some color for the background. So the placement of the model is pretty much there, though I think the model is actually going to get bigger. So again, bottom may fit over there, which will put the bottom of the swing over here. The hand will be somewhat over there. Shoulders approximately there. Hey Cora, welcome, welcome. Okay, so the corner of the head. So that gives us our little silhouette. Again, there's a ponytail or a bun on the model's head. These are little landmark areas. Shoulder over there. Alright, so start to put some stuff in for the environment. The environment's going to be kind of important. Anytime you're working on a composition, a full composition, you want to really consider the background even before you consider finalizing the proportions of your model, because that can always move. It takes up less real estate in a full composition, so that stuff can always move. I don't care. We've got plenty of years of experience with figure drawing, figure painting, so I'll be able to explain all of those little decisions as we go along. These streams are about 3.5 hours long, so feel free to ask any questions as the painting progresses. Light back here. Okay, a little bit more green over here. And this is going to create a kind of a frame for the model, sort of. The model's neck is going to be lighter over there. In the shadow, it'll probably be darker. So, I don't know. Let's just make that a tad bit lighter right next to the neck. Then it's going to get lighter over here. Okay, something like that. And then it'll get darker. Blue, some green. Right above there. So we block that plane in right away. Of course, this canvas wants to fly off the surface. You know, I should have put the lock on the top of the easel, but I didn't. Okay, so that's the top of the tree. No, this is not commission work. Kind of taking a little break from commissions. I've had 2 bad experiences in a row with commissions. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating studio paintings live on YouTube in order to exhibit to them somewhere. I don't know where yet, but yeah, these are not commissions. Not commissions. Okay, so this plane here is gonna get darker. It's gonna have some yellow to it. Put a tad bit of Indian yellow. Okay, so we've masked this plane in. Very good. Now we're going to put in the dark shape for the dress. Okay, so dark, kind of reddish. Fits right over there. And I'm just looking at shapes right now. I'm not concerning myself with accuracy in any means. Dark shadow right over here. Again, part of the composition. Contrast that with the dark plane of the swing. Shoulder's gonna be over here. By the way, if you hear any drilling or hammering in the background, I apologize for that. That's been going on upstairs for about the entire day. So sorry about that if you hear that. I tried to connect my studio microphone to block it out, but my studio microphone is not working. So that's the kind of day I've had. But anyway, so the hand about over there. Let's just add a little bit of light with some pink there. That's gonna be kind of our little guesstimation for the hand. Hey Janice. Baby faces in the future. Oh yeah, those are kind of awkward. Kid faces. You know, the best thing I could suggest with that is let's put a little bit of light on the neck and the shoulder. The best thing I can suggest with that is to look at Vanderpool. You can actually buy this book, drawing. I think it's called The Human Figure by John Vanderpool on Amazon. I should probably put a link to that. It's like one of the best books you can buy for art. The Vanderpool. That's a really good one for that. I'll tell you what, on YouTube, and here's a clavicle, not a clavicle, the scapula. I'll tell you what, on YouTube, Core, any content creator or artist, content creator that does any paintings of children, they run a risk of even if it's just an oil painting or whatever painting you do. This is how messed up YouTube is. They will get you, and yeah, it's not safe for any content creators or artists. Let's just say to paint that subject. But the best resource for you and for anybody that wants to work on painting or drawing faces of children is going to be the Vanderpool book. Okay, so this is about good, I guess. I may have made the model a little small, but meh, it kind of works. Why so? It's something called Copa or whatever. I don't know what the heck it's called. They basically do everything they can to prevent footage or videos of kids, especially like on YouTube, because of consent. Children are too small to consent to being in videos, and I kind of support it myself, to be honest. Anytime there's a YouTube video and kids in there, it kind of bugs me a little bit, because they can't consent to that stuff. They don't know, and they're gonna be. Imagine they're in a viral video and they're like in their awkward teens or whatever, and then all of a sudden they become a meme for the future generations. So yeah. Hey Gigi. No worries, we're just getting started here. And let's see, is this a decent size for the model? I guess so. Gosh, that hammering and drilling is super annoying. Again, I hope you don't hear it. This apartment complex, I give a 0 out of 10. It's terrible. Like, even this, I woke up this morning to someone opening the door to my apartment, like, oh, we're gonna change air filters. I was sleeping. Like, jeez. Like, no privacy up in here. I hate this place. But it is what it is, you know? It is what it is. The corner of the head. I've had one of those days, everybody. New world so corrupted. Man, who knows about anything these days? I just paint. Arm over there. So again, that's my landmark right there. Where that's gonna fit. Again, there's a swing over here. So model's sitting on the swing. These lines are gonna get taken out a lot, so don't worry about, like, if you find yourself painting a composition similar to this, don't concern yourself with maintaining that line. That line is so easy to paint. It could be done and finished in under 2 minutes. So, you know, we don't concern ourselves with that. Now there's gonna be some light for the dress. No, it's this stupid, pardon my language, it's just, they've been doing construction on the building, on the roof of the building. And this building is, I'm on the 14th floor, and there's a floor above me. So, geez, I feel terrible for the people in the units above me. So this is 16 stories. There's a 15th floor. And, yeah, this place is called Landmark Towers. Alexandria, I don't care to trash talk them. I don't want to be here next year. So, I don't care if they kick me out. I don't care. But, yeah. I mean, most apartments, let's make this pink. Most apartments are kind of like that anyway. Yeah, we could say it's a drone flying over. How to create a blur effect with oil paint. The best thing is to use a ton of paint and move the brush really quickly as you blend the colors away. But lots of paint and a rapid motion of the brush. There's the light pink for the dress, so that's about good. Yeah, this apartment is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And I think most people in apartments that have 14 floors don't have a good experience with it. This honestly isn't that bad. So I shouldn't give it a 0 out of 10. I'd probably give it a 4. I'd give it a 4 out of 10. A 0 out of 10 would be roaches and stuff running around, and they do a good job of forcing everybody to clean. So I'd give it a 4. I'd give it a 4. Though it'll probably upset you, and if it does, if the noise upsets you, then I'm sorry. You can turn the audio off. I can't. I can't turn the audio off in this darn place. Shoulder up there, elbow, a little bit of reflected light. Let's get a different brush. Yeah, and if it gets too bad, just mute me, or just leave the video altogether. I don't want you to suffer. A bit of red reflection on the elbow and the arm. You saw we put some of that reflection for the ear. And this is just a little guesstimation again for where the ear is going to fit. Is this full? This is, I'm actually not using any mineral spirits. This is just safflower oil and spike lavender oil. safflower oil and spiked lavender oil. The reason I'm not using any solvent is because I'm in a, like I said before, I'm in a small apartment, so I don't want to use my sink to clean the brushes. So I don't actually clean my brushes. I keep them in a container of linseed oil when I'm not painting, and that's why I'm not cleaning the brushes. This is just safflower oil and spiked lavender, but it's mostly safflower oil. Okay, a little bit of a bluish color for the back side of the dress. Out of focus effect. Yeah, like I was saying, a lot of paint and blur the lines together, kind of like this, with a smooth, rapid motion, and that's how you'll get a blurred out effect. So again, everybody, the streams don't always have this noise in the background. So again, I won't be offended if you leave this one, but we're here Monday through Friday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. A little bit of red there for the shadow. Yes, that's another thing. Ventilation. There's not much ventilation here. Because it's just small. We've got windows and stuff, but it's small, so not too much ventilation. And I was getting a headache when I was using the Gamsol, the mineral spirits. So go figure. It would make sense, I guess, that oil paints would do that. Oh, thanks, Cor. We're just starting this the figure out. So really appreciate all the help, everybody, to the likes and subscribing and all that stuff. It's a very difficult situation for me these days compared to how life was back in the 2020s. Again, living situations is just no good, but it could be worse. I'm not gonna lie. Let's add more planes right across here. And I like painting on a bigger canvas because it gives me more room to move around. And when I turn this into a reel, like a short video, I'm gonna have hopefully there's gonna be more clarity on the painting, and it just kind of looks better if you're gonna be doing exhibitions and stuff like that. So again, there's going to be a dark plane over here. And the model's holding something, and I'm not going to put too much for it right now. Maybe just a little plane like that. Not too much just yet. All these values and colors are really important to the composition here. Blue, I use a Phthalo blue. And believe it or not, this is just a cheap Artist Loft brand for my Phthalo blue. Yep. Not even your artist grade color for my blue. Yep. Same brand, really, for my raw umber and my burnt sienna. Yep. Don't even have artist grade. We on a budget. That's right. We on a budget. Now we're pushing some light back there. While we have this value, let's add a little bit of pink to the green, and we'll throw in a light shape for the neck right there. And we'll give ourselves plenty of room to add specificity to the figure later on. Light on the shoulder blade, a little bit more red over here. So don't worry about the detail. We've got plenty of time to add detail to the figure. I am painting from both imagination and reference. So I have a reference for things like people, trees and stuff like that. But I modify anything and everything, including the people, in my paintings. I'm using copyright-free references, but recently I've had problems with copyright-free references not being fully copyright, even though they say copyright for life, copyright-free for life. I've had issues with that recently. So I cannot show my references in this new series of paintings, and there's that little plane. There's going to be a very distinct plane break there, so I cannot show it. And all is well, because I've been painting these portrait studies and things like that on YouTube for so many years that it's time that we evolve, move beyond the regular painting that you've seen me create time and time again on YouTube to something much, much more involved. So yeah, combination. Okay, so there's gonna be a plane break over here, and I want there to be a diagonal. I don't like when things are just like flat, vertical, flat, vertical, flat, vertical. So to add some, like I said, look, we're gonna paint into that and paint it back in, paint it back out. Anyway, it just adds something nice to the composition. So now we can start to put some kind of elements into here. It's gonna have some flowers, maybe like a pink flower bush or whatever, something like that. And we'll create a story to this as we go. Yesterday we painted 2 cows, and we added a UFO. We tend to always paint a UFO. We added a UFO to the background, and then I posted that painting just before the stream, and I titled it "Cows versus UFO." It's because I'm basically a nobody on Instagram. Nobody cares. I don't even get 30 likes anymore per post, so I can title it whatever I want. So yeah, we'll create whatever kind of effects we want. Now this plane here is going to have a little bit more specificity as we work our way up towards this greenish darker plane that's facing us. Again, there's going to be a plane change right here and right underneath. So lots of planes, some imagination, but some reference work. What are the, let's see, you wrote what are the what issues they cause so that I can be aware onward. Okay, basically everybody, don't trust what you hear online, including me, right? I put myself in that. Though I have no reason to tell you lies or to harm you or anything. But with the way things are going, especially the U.S. economy and everything is just kind of crap. So I feel like anyone that posts something that says copyright free, or beware of the word free. Nothing is really free. It's just probably going to get worse as time goes by. And, I could say this because who cares about me anyway. But just don't show whatever reference you're going to use if you are going to be making money off of your artwork. Just don't show it. Don't mention it. And hopefully you'll be okay. Hopefully I'll be okay, because you know, I gotta survive here. Anyway, we're adding more planes onto this bottom area, and then we'll once we have the big composition kind of sorted out, then we will start to add more detail towards the model. So just be careful with that, everyone. Just be careful. I'm using, obviously, references that you could find online on Unsplash or Pixabay. Those are the two big ones, right? That I'll use. But I will not show the references anymore. Planes, planes, and planes. So I don't mean to step on any toes. You know, I don't mean to offend anybody, scare anyone. I don't mean to do anything negative. It's just I don't want someone else down the line to go through the issues that I've had to deal with. And YouTube is just so messed up that, like, I've had some videos like this with no music where they tried to copyright me for music that I didn't even have. I couldn't believe it. I took a screenshot and I just was like, whatever. So they made me delete like a minute or whatever on my video where this so-called music was. And I'm like, okay, take a minute away from my video, I guess, if you want. What am I gonna say? I don't own this platform. So it's all kinds of messed up. It really is. I know it's all kinds of messed up. Yeah. There's, of course, giving credit to a reference. Of course, you can give credit to a reference, but then they will share they could share the revenue. Like I was saying, you may not have the same experience that I went through. You know, it's just the way it went for me. I personally felt targeted. And you'll notice I will post on YouTube. You can be subscribed to me and you won't get a notification when I go live. I've been told this by many people. And I myself feel targeted, but it is what it is. I mean, who knows, really? That's why I'm painting now for the sake of selling. A lot of people aren't going to be interested in seeing videos like this, and I know. But, you know, I'm pushing as far as I can to create paintings that I could sell. For sure. Prints and all that. And another thing, you know, don't force style onto your paintings. Let it be something that you develop. I myself am pushing to just be free. You know, I've got my palette set up right underneath. This is the ideal life for me. To just have my palette and then just paint basically till the cows come home. And just be free. Anyway, what was I doing? See, I lost my train of thought. Oh, dark shape for the back of the arm. Yeah, the whole copyright thing for a song on a video that didn't have any music was just wow. Just wow. That was something. And there's going to be a cast shadow on the dress. So this is all big picture stuff. So in the first 30 minutes or whatever, we can get all the or most of the big picture stuff. and then start to hone in on the subtlety. And again, the model has some kind of bun. Her hair is tied up. And cast shadow is going to be kind of a coolish tone. Right here. That's the cast shadow. Kind of a coolish color. Okay, so there's some light on the dress, on the back side. And yeah, feel free to mute me because of that annoying sound. Okay, this should follow the spine. Okay, so there's the back of the spine. And this is going to be a lighter part of the dress. Hey GT, no worries, no worries. We're just getting started. We're just getting started. The painting is in its infancy. Just getting started. Though again, really sorry about that noise. Hey GG Ron, thanks for watching from Poland. Appreciate you. Now this is going to be kind of bluish with a hint of kind of a, I want to say, just make it closer to this pink, but more blue. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. Again, this is something I'm manipulating. I'm changing this part. And it's going to be a little ribbon of some sort. Put something here for the dress. On the... right above the waist. But yeah, I'd never imagined living in an apartment complex where you could be asleep and somebody walks in, they have a key to walk in. It's horrible. I hate this place. But I know that it could be worse. Okay, a little bit more light here. The back side of the dress. Hey Mark L, welcome, welcome. Oh, you're used to the noises. Well, that's good, I guess. Grace. Okay. What color? I don't know what color I'm gonna put here, so whatever's on the brush, let's see if that works. See if it works. Will it work? I don't know. Yeah, Corey, you asked what's the difference between cadmium white? What? Did I read cadmium? You mean, I have never seen a cadmium white, but titanium, I think you mean lead white? So I actually have them both on my palette. I've got there I go saying it. I've got titanium white and lead white. The difference between titanium white and lead white is going to be the lead white allows you to blend your colors without raising the value too much. It's also more yellow. So it's perfect for stuff like skin tones, though it's totally not necessary. You don't necessarily need to have it, but it's kind of nice when you do have it. Now, I'm not cleaning my brushes anyway, so I don't have to worry about exposure to the lead. Some more of the drapery. Yeah, I think you meant lead white. It's okay, it's all good. Hey, that's what we're here for. We're here to just have an open discussion, have some fun, create a painting, hopefully a painting that we can sell in the future, or at least sell the prints, you know what I mean? So, hey, no worries here, no judgment here. And let me tell you something, everybody. The initial tone of the safflower oil and spike lavender, it makes the paint flow so nicely when you're adding more layers. It's just one of the best little experiments I've ever done. Truly. And this is nothing new, right, to me. I mean, to me it's new, sorry. It's nothing new to the world of painting. Bob Ross and Bill Alexander are the most famous. Bob Ross and Bill Alexander are the most famous painters of the alla prima technique. And they weren't even realist painters. They were more kind of like, I guess, I want to say, I don't actually know what to call that type of painting, but more, I want to say procedural type painters. Well, there was a very specific method to everything that they did. This, not so much, not very procedural, but more discovered, kind of figured out, found out on the way. Oh man, I myself may have to wear some headphones for these annoying background noises. So okay, I think we've got most of the background stuff. Now I think we can start to add some specificity to the model. Oh yeah, Bob Ross could finish a painting in under 30 minutes. Very, like I said, very procedural, but same approach. There was a tone of, he called it magic white on the canvas, and it allowed him to blend his colors, just like what we're doing here. Very much similar thing. The paint just flows so freely, and I think it's better on the brushes. I'm not per se beating the devil out of the brush. Now you see the composition starting to take shape. Let's see. I wish I had a background noise eliminator for Hugo. It says H white. Yeah, I don't know what they called it. The magic white, H white, liquid clear. I don't know what he called it. The best thing I could do is take Hugo away. I took him with me this morning to my side job, dog walking. So we went dog dog walking together. I even took him to the grocery store. I mean, not in the grocery store, but he stayed in the car waiting for me. The weather was perfect for that. It's only 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, I mean, I took Hugo out of here. There's a hand that's gonna fit over there. This proportion is pretty much good enough. Hey, Lady Death. I don't know how. I guess I don't know how he pronounced it. So remember, the hands go from a mitten to a claw, and then to a hand, and then we refine the hand however much we want. Something a long time ago where it was a microphone or something. Oh, I did have a microphone. But just like my other camera, it stopped working. And I don't know why it stopped working. It just stopped working. It doesn't pick up on my streaming software. Yeah, it doesn't pick up. Simple shapes for the hand. Oh, thanks, Grace. I appreciate it. Okay, so now we've got pretty much the entire background situated. So now we can go and add smaller shapes to the face, or the back of the face, let's say. So now let's zoom you in, and we will start to refine this. Thanks, Gigi. You're actually picking up on the theme here. There's a lot of springtime paintings. And you imagine in the winter there's going to be a lot of snow. Paintings with like snow in the background and things like that. Alright, so let's switch to some size to filbert bristle brushes. But I'll still keep some of the big brushes around. So what I like to do is go into the background first. Gosh, this is super obnoxious, this sound. Okay, so once I have this background color, and I can use it to draw. Thanks for joining, Cord. Take care. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Now we have the dark shape for the back of the hair. And back to the background. the bun, let's change brushes here. The bun may end up being too tall right now. Let's do a little haircut. Trim the bun. Okay. Back to the smaller brushes. You know what I have is I have shooting headphones for firing range. So I wear those if I'm in a loud environment. But of course, it's not that loud where I need them here. But it is loud enough to be obnoxious. A little shape for the spinal cord. Okay, so this shoulder is slightly raised relative to the other one. Of course, that shadow is not going to be that dark. And that arm's not going to be that thick. We're going to adjust it as we go. Thanks, Gigi. I'm glad you like my voice and this experience. Thank you, thank you. You know what cheers me up is just knowing that I can create content, still create content that people like, and in a genuine way. I do enjoy painting. I don't enjoy, to be frank, I don't enjoy playing a sport where I started from nothing and still feel like I amounted to nothing, even though I know it's not true. What I was doing playing pool before all this. There's really almost nothing else in the world that I want to do. Painting's always been that thing for me. It's kind of ultimate. Oh yeah, there you go. She might be watching the cows in the field. Exactly. Turning plane for the scapula. Oh, thanks, Celeste. I'm glad you're enjoying this. I mean, we're also documenting the struggle, I guess, too. The sounds in the background. There we go, right on cue. The sounds in the background, the the struggles with YouTube. I'm documenting all of it. Hopefully this takes off in the not so distant future. Better believe I'll have these paintings for sale. And of course the prints first. The paintings from the week 1, which is only 3 weeks ago, are going to be varnished this week. So pretty soon we'll have some originals. We all have imposter syndrome from time to time. Till we make it. I've definitely... Oh man, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle. Now we'll add a little more width to the shoulder here. I just feel like it needs to get a little wider. Pushing the shape for the scapula. And then that'll push this out. And we got the latissimus latissimus dorsi, whatever the heck you want to pronounce it, muscle. The teres muscle group over here that is not flexing at the moment, but it's good to know it's there. Yeah, the struggle is real. Developing the planes for the back. Planes, and more planes. And obnoxious construction in the background. I can't even hear myself think. But such is life. Reflection. I can't even hear myself think. Oh, right, yeah, if we get an electromagnetic pulse, at least we'll still have the paintings, that's true. That wouldn't be good. We don't want to lose the internet. If anything, we should try not to lose the internet. Now, we've only got 10 people here now, so I know that sound must have cost me. I know that sound must have cost me. Oh, thanks, Gigi. A little bit more of a yellow. Now we got 9 people here. This is just wonderful. The unforeseen problems of live streaming. Oh, look at that. We just passed the first hour. And I didn't even know. That's true. A lot of people can't stay for the full 3 hours. But I kind of know when the background noise is too much. I kind of know. They stopped for now. Of course, they're going to stop right when we're going to take a break. Hey, Michael MC. Welcome, welcome. A little bit of drawing. So we will play the 5-minute acrylic video soon. I know I need to film another one. Very soon, very soon. Plane change in the environment, kind of similar to the skin tone. Little brown color, to put some planes back there. Yeah, something like that. We get something like that after the streams. You know, these videos will be available for hopefully forever after the stream ends. So we've already jumped into subtleties with the back. So we're already ahead of schedule. In some odd way, painting larger, or 16 by 20, painting a 16 by 20 size actually accelerates the painting process. And some of it is the fact that I can use my, I call it my forever palette, to mix. So look at that. Look at all these mixtures going on here. That's part of it. Oh, thanks, Michael. Well, I hope it'll get better. All we can do is hope. We'll put in these accents, and then we'll be ready to take a break. And of course, it'll be a break from the noise for you. Yep, thanks for all the likes, everybody. Alright, now we're in a good place to play that video. Take a break from the sound for you. Hey, Hansel Dog. Welcome, welcome. Okie dokie. Here's the progress on the painting so far. Alright, so we are going to take a break. I'm going to play that acrylic video for you. and we will continue this painting in 5 to 7 minutes. Welcome to 7 minutes acrylic eye with color. This is a time lapse. So the video has been sped up so that you can watch it within a approximately 7 minute time range. What you're seeing here is a black and white underpainting, again with acrylic paint. We're painting wet onto dry. However, the acrylic paint allows itself to work wet into wet within the time interval of about, I would say, 2 to 5 minutes until it's completely dry. So as you can see here, in contrast to the technique we use in oil paint, this is very much wet onto dry. I really recommend doing these studies of eyes because it helps you not only work with some anatomy, but also different structures, such as the curvature of the eye. As you can see, there is like a sphere. It has a highlight, it has light and shadow, and it has middle tones. Now you see how we're putting in planes onto the eye socket. Now this is a very, very fast-paced video, but we have done a similar one to this in oil paint, minus the color, in real time. I just want to show that you can create these gradations with acrylic, and we have several live streams and pre-recorded videos already done on the YouTube channel that shows acrylic. This is an excellent study to do when you're trying to work on your values, and then eventually it will transition into color. Remember, if you do decide to recreate any one of the paintings done on the channel, including these fast-paced studies, please post it to your social medias with the hashtag #UpariArtist. Now we're putting in values surrounding the eyes. There's a side plane underneath of the tear duct of the eye. And now we've covered the entire surface, pretty much like a cast drawing or a cast painting. And it dries within about 5 minutes or so. Now we're pushing the darks. One thing to notice is that acrylic does dry a little bit darker in the lights, but then the darks themselves will actually fade slightly. Now that transition was done wet onto wet, which means you have to mix that value within about a 2 to 5 minute time range. Now we're pushing the darks even further. And now we're starting to add some hints of color. A little bit of brown. And now we're putting in some skin tone. And the mixtures are done on a dry palette. So I'm mixing each color as I go, and then I'm adding it directly onto the surface. Wet onto dry. Again, to show you that these types of paintings can be done with acrylic paint as well. A little bit of a warmer gray for the sclera, the white of the eye. Just like we did with the underpainting, but it's much easier to add color when you have an underlayer that has careful drawing in light and shadow. Now you see we're filling in some of the mid-tones on the upper eyelid. A little bit of a yellowish color on the side plane of the eye socket. And now we're putting more of a reddish color, kind of exaggerating color a little bit, which you're totally allowed to do, by the way, with a quick study of an eye. Real time, this video was approximately almost an hour long. So an hour condensed into about 7 minutes, a little more than 7 minutes. Now we're rounding out the eyebrow. Notice how the eyebrows are not painted on. They're literally painted on, but they're not meant to look painted on. They have soft edges, light and shadow. Now you may have seen there that the paint in the light did dry a little bit darker, but the more layers you add, the less that effect will be. Let's just say it won't be interrupting the process. The more and more layers you add, the truer the values are going to look. The values will look more accurate. Here's last minute little color changes. A little bit of blue for the highlight on the eye. Just little last minute color adjustments on this. More light on the eyebrow. So once again, this was accelerated, but we do have a monochrome oil painting eye that was done in about 5 to 7 minutes. Of course, acrylic takes a little bit longer, but this was a fun little break time video for you to show that this can also be done with acrylic. Alrighty then, hopefully you enjoyed that video. Let's go ahead and continue to develop, what were we doing? The form on the model's back. So hopefully it won't take that long. Then we'll start to add form to the rest of the composition. But let's take a moment to analyze what we've already established in the first hour. I was thinking about it during the break, and yeah, the first hour, basically the block in of everything and all these big shapes of color, this is really the core of everything that we're doing. Like being able to get to this big picture as efficiently as we can. This is really where all the difficult stuff happens. The rest is really just stuff that is built upon the foundation, but the foundation is always going to be the most difficult and the most important thing. All the other stuff, the little finesse and the form, really is just built upon the difficult stuff. So let's go ahead and get into that now. Again, using the size 2 filbert bristle brushes. That's true, Celeste. If somebody does that, it still helps with the algorithm. But the algorithm is a big mystery to me. Alright, so here's where lead white is going to be a thing. So I'm going to now use lead white. And I've got lead white right on the corner of the palette right here. You can tell it's lead white by this kind of stringiness. You can see this kind of string cheese kind of looking thing. And see what happens when we mix in the middle. It doesn't raise the value too much, which helps us have more control in the subtlety. Now you absolutely don't need it, but if you can use it, it is kind of helpful. But it's not necessary. We're going to have a light brush, a middle brush, and a dark brush. We're going to change that hue a little bit closer to the pink right here. And the value will be slightly darker than that of the neck. And right here is a bony landmark. I think it's the 7th cervical vertebrae. It should be right behind here. This is part of the spinal cord. This is a bony landmark along with the corners of the clavicles. I keep calling them clavicles, but the scapula. Hey Helen, thank you. We really are pushing the form here, everybody. Or I guess I should say pushing what we can do in this 3.5 hour time frame. Not by rushing by any means, but letting the painting flow naturally. Yeah, guys, when I'm not talking, I'm just gonna turn this off. Okay, when I thought the noise was subsiding a little bit upstairs. Anyway, like I said, I won't talk that much to try to avoid you having to deal with that sound from upstairs. But anyway, what I'm doing is I'm just pushing the form in these smaller areas. So right above the scapula, we have these very specific shapes. Concern yourself not too much with the anatomy, but more with the structure. There's a reason why doctors with no art training can't draw a human figure like an artist can. There's a reason why an artist is not a doctor. Well, I guess they could kind of do two jobs, but one profession, though information from one profession can help the other, doesn't necessarily mean if you know all there is to the anatomy that's going to make that huge of a difference. Anatomy is just helpful to place the parts. Yeah, anatomy is helpful for that reason too, Gigi, where like you wrote, you don't see the anatomy, the muscles. You don't. Let's see. So you paint what you know, not what you see. Yeah, just it's helpful for certain things, like obviously if there's movement going on. If you're painting from life, you can kind of identify what muscle groups. So you can kind of target those muscle groups. She's holding on to this. She's not really putting that much force holding on to that, but if she was really gripping it, then you could see um, some shapes in the arms. Muscles start to flex, things like that. So I'll have to keep track of for me turning this microphone on and off because of that background noise. Anyone that may be new, it's not always like that. Today's kind of annoying. Seems to have quieted down now, though. Alright, now it's starting to get loud again. Now we're going to push a orangey pink hue right by the shoulder. It's one of those areas where for some reason pushing the color, especially the pink, kind of works nicely. there's a little bone right here that we're going to emphasize as well. Now we're using the lead white a little bit, especially around here. And just like the shoulder, a little bit more of a pinkish hue is useful for the elbows. Just kind of an area where there's just kind of that classical convention of almost like more blood flow around the elbow. Makes it more red. Thanks, Celeste. I'm glad that you like the color shifts in the skin tone. It does go kind of orangey blue, orangey, and then blue in some areas as well. Yeah, we could say orange would be the new game word, I guess. So we're adding some more form by the elbow. In order to do that, we need light surrounding the darks of the elbow. Thanks, Julia. I'm glad you like the musculature in the back. Hey, Shabu. Welcome, welcome. We can comfortably say that the model goes to the gym, or at least does whatever kind of exercise. That much we can say. Yep, definitely works out her trapezoids. Very strong trapezius muscle. So again, the hands go from a mitten to a claw and ultimately to a hand. Those are the stages of the hand. Oh, thanks, GG. I'm glad I'm on the road again. Get me out of this apartment. Get me out of this apartment. Oh, the background affects the portraits or any painting in a huge, huge way. Especially if you are planning on creating a full composition. That means something more than a head study. So that's why I emphasize the background a lot in the beginning. we get the background out of the way right away, because the figures need to fit into the background, not the reverse, if you're working on a big composition. Oh, no, no, I've been shutting the microphone off every time I'm not talking. I'm just shutting it off. It's kind of a lot of work, but it's all I can do to avoid the noise of the apartment background noise. I don't want you to have to hear it. Yeah, yeah, I'm cutting it off on purpose. I'm cutting off the audio when I'm not talking to avoid you having to hear this noise in the background. Yeah, 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 no, I'm cutting it on and off as I go. I'm like quadruple multitasking right now, but that's all I can do. Yeah, so we're putting some reflections on the hair, along with these little warmish notes to indicate kind of brunette like hair, I guess. Alright, so now we're going to put some reflection on the shoulder. And can't get too bright, but just a little bit lighter for the reflection. Then we're going to change camera angle back to the full frame and add another layer or another little bit of information into the background, which will carry us over to the next break. So kind of just like painting a model with glasses. Every time you have like a little string in the background, you want to suggest it early on, but know that you're going to paint it in and out several times till you get to the final stages of the painting. And landscape really should be, there should be an emphasis on the abstract, the big picture. We're going to push the darks right up here. Which will kind of help to crop the figure a little bit. Okay, so that, just like that, it has been the second hour. So now I'll play the 5 to 7 minute oil painting tutorial video, which is actually in real time for you. So you can have a much easier exercise to paint along with than something like this, which is more for marketing purposes. But anyway, I will play that video now. Don't worry, that annoying sound is going to disappear pretty soon, and we will continue this when we return. Well, thank you, Celeste. Welcome to What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to another break time quick 5 to 7 minute oil painting. This is just a gessoed piece of wood. It was gessoed with acrylic gesso, and now I have added a thin coat of raw umber and black using a mixture of safflower oil and spike lavender. Now we are going to use the alla prima technique to paint a 5 to 7 minute eye. We're going to start off with white. This is going to create a sphere for us. And this is going to be the eye socket area right here. And down here is going to be the corner of the eye. This is the edge of the eye socket, and now we have the entire shape for the eye socket. The tear duct will be about here. Next thing we will do is go and get the dark brush. This is going to be just black and raw umber right here. So this is going to be our tear duct. Black and raw umber. This is going to be the end of the eye, and this is going to be the iris. Very simple iris shape there. And now we're going to put in the bottom plane of the upper eyelid, lower eyelid, and the top of the lower eyelid. Very simple, iconic looking eyeball shape. Next, we are going to go in with the light back towards the top of the eye, and this will give us the eyebrow right above. Nice and easy. So there's a quick little eyebrow. The tear duct is going to pick up some light, and this creates the tear bag area. And you want to work with a decent amount of paint so that you can apply different value changes, as you're seeing there, just by modifying how much pressure you put on the brush. So this is the tear duct here. See how it gets lighter? Less pressure will make this less light. And now we're going to have a little bit of light picking up on the top plane of the upper eyelid as it starts to curve around the back side of the eye there. We'll also pick up a little bit of light on the upper eyelid, and we'll also pick up a little bit of light on the top of the eye socket, which is going to create a nice gradation here. And these are just cheap pieces of wood that were gessoed with Liquitex acrylic gesso. They're cheap pieces of wood that are perfect for doing oil painting sketches such as this one. And less pressure is going to make this less bright as we work all the way towards the back side of the eye, finishing the first pass for this eye. Next thing we are going to do is add more light to the top, giving us close to our brightest light. And you can paint this in 5 to 7 minutes at home for practice. Simple practice. Now a little bit of light for the sclera. Remember, the sclera, the white of the eye, is not white, but rather some type of middle value. Now this painting is of course going to be in monochrome, meaning we're not going to add any values. But if you want to add, color, it's going to be in monochrome, which means we're not adding any color. But if you want to add color, you certainly can. But you see how much you can do without any need of color. And see how you can create this little gradation here with just white, black, and umber. And now we're going to add our darkest dark, which is going to be raw umber with a little bit of black for the pupil right there. And depending on the model, there may be some darker eyelashes, so we can add those eyelashes. The dark for the eyelashes here. And it all depends on the model. And we can adjust the eyebrows with the same brush, wet into wet. Depending on if the model has thick eyebrows, soft eyebrows, it's up to you. You can create whatever eyebrows you want. And what I want you to do is, if you can help me out and do this 5 to 7 minute study on Instagram, post it with a hashtag #UpariArtist. And this is the final light. Like I said, that's going to be the brightest light. And that is your 5 to 7 minute simple alla prima wet on wet eye. I hope you enjoyed this break time painting video. Alrighty, so now we have returned from the second break. I apologize if there wasn't any sound on that on the break video. I don't know why that would have happened, but so we are going to continue with the background and then eventually get back into the structure for the model. Although we'll start off with the model. There's one thing that I want to fix, and yes, the audio I will turn it off when I'm not talking, just because of that annoying background sound. So this is something you want to watch out for. The spinal cord shape should always be somewhat curved, never like just straight like that. Unless they're in a frontal position and they're just standing straight like that. But you always want to have some kind of arc. Just something to think about. Alright, now I will turn off the audio again so you don't have to keep hearing that annoying background sound. Yeah, just so it's not perfectly straight. Now you can compare it to the straight line. So we'll continue with the background. Again, always feel free to ask me any questions that you have. I'm just turning off the audio when I'm painting to avoid you having to deal with that annoying background sound. So yeah, just feel free to ask me any questions, and I'll be happy to answer. Oh, trust me. Sometimes when I'm talking, it turns off, which is good. But you'll notice when the noise returns. You'll notice. So right now there's none of it, but you'll hear it. These are just abstract shapes that are part of the environments. There's distant little planes back here, but these little chops, I guess, will be put into specificity as we move along. So right now it's nice and quiet, so that's good. As a 16 by 20, hopefully this will do well from a distance, especially in an art show or a craft fair of some sort. Which is why I'm trying to paint a little bit bigger these days for things like that. I feel bad for the construction workers. I wonder when their lunchtime was. Again, don't be afraid to paint that out anytime you have some kind of line that is part of the composition. It's kind of similar to painting glasses. There's something really nice about the feedback of the stretched canvas. It feels better to paint on than a panel. Now some specificity to the light and the drapery. Thank goodness the background noise has subsided a little bit. Yeah, and this wet on wet technique works perfect for this kind of stuff. Because there's no mineral spirits involved in this, there's really nothing to like eat up at the paint. So the feel of the painting is a little different. It's kind of hard to describe. It's more like instead of a melted butter, it's kind of more like a syrup of some sort. More, I guess, density to the paint. That's enough for that because she's gonna be holding some flowers there, so probably don't want too much light or too many values there. Thanks, Michael. push a little more light on this corner pocket. Just to bring attention towards the model. Okay, that's good enough for that. Add a little more light to the knuckles so that the hands are slightly more developed, and then we'll paint the flowers that she's holding. It is kind of a spring themed painting, so of course she'd be holding flowers. Well, there they go again with that noise. So I'm going to cut the audio off now. Okay, I guess it's quiet again. I'm adding some red elements to whatever flower she's holding. Oh, never mind. So that's about good for the drapery and the flowers. I could have this cross down here a little more, but just leave it like that. The environment's gonna need a lot more work. Not too much, but I guess a little bit more. Now I'm gonna have a light green brush and a dark green brush. And we're gonna start alternating between them to create planes for the grass. I don't want it to be too blue. Kind of a grayish green of some sort. Hey Paul, yep, I did turn off the sound whenever I'm not talking because there's some noise going on in the apartment. So, but you know, if anybody has any questions, I can always answer. I turn it off when I'm not talking just because of the background sound. I'll leave it on for a little bit until it gets to be too loud again. No, I haven't been talking. No, I didn't forget. There you go. Probably hear it again. No, I didn't forget to turn it off. Or turn it back on. I didn't forget to turn it off or turn it on. Just the background noise. That's all. Let's do this a la Bob Ross style with a fan brush. Although I'll probably lose some bristles on this brush. So it's just a cheap, less than $1 brush. There goes the background noise. Not too bad though. Yeah, so the planes in the background for the landscape. So each of these is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is part of that. But each one of these little planes, you can see as I move my hand around, is a indication of distance in the background, and things that are closer to you appear bigger, or at least have more definition. Right here, you see how small this is, but because it's small, it doesn't mean that it's further away. It just means that it's got more definition here, and then these big chunks of planes get less and less specific. Things that are darker, like these planes that I'm adding here, are going to appear closer to us also. So these are just little parts of the background that, which, by the way, this comes from Bob Ross using the fan brush. I'm dipping the brush in a little bit of the safflower oil, spike lavender, to make this shape a little bit sharper. But that's just how I'm using planes, right? You can see that these are all just like one little grouping of planes. Now this is another, and then this is a third. And then you can think of this as the fourth, but it's all basically for the same purpose, creating distance. I appreciate the question though. That's how I'm using the planes in the background. And the brush stroke is more or less just kind of an afterthought. It's all about the planes, really. Oh, right, exactly. Planes, planes, and more planes. Happy little planes, we'll call them. Yeah, aerial perspective or atmospheric perspective in terms of things getting kind of lighter as they get further away, darker as they get closer. Linear perspective, things look bigger when they're closer and smaller when they're further away. Yep, giving more depth. Correct, correct, correct. Again, this was all part of the composition in the beginning. This big tree-like shape above, and now it's starting to get more specific. I guess that Bob Ross fan brush kind of tapping back and forth actually kind of works. The little things in the trees here. There goes the background. Let's use this technique here to, I don't know, put some grass. This is, again, just experimental. Kind of darken this a little bit. This is kind of fun. You never really see me paint with the fan brush ever. The right hand, well, this is the right. I mean, thumb should be here. So I could make the thumb smaller. I chopped off part of the thumb there. And the left hand, the thumb is over here, and then there's some of the fingers showing through there. course, I haven't used any of the small brushes for this. I don't think we really need them too much. So thumb, this is the left hand, thumb would be here. I can exaggerate that shape. And of course, minimize. Yeah, no problem. Can minimize this one. She's gonna be grabbing the string closer to the end, but grabbing the string for the swing. And of course, here's a fun thing to do. If there's any doubt, obscure it, blur it out. There's going to be some of the tree blocking that. And now that the annoying sounds in the background, I'll cut off the audio if I notice a lot of people leave. Notice the shadow here should be a little bit thicker. Now we'll go back to the model. Hopefully that fixed something with the hands. I made that obvious as a thumb, and then I cut into that. But at least we have a little bit of a highlight where the thumb will be. I'm going to use the palette knife. Mix white and red. So again, palette knife. White and cadmium red, and that's titanium white. And we want to make a bright pink. Test it out, just holding it in front. And it doesn't really do much. So that means our original value was good. we can completely eliminate the line for the swing. Then we'll add it back right at the end, or at least when we're done with these planes. Back to the model. See if we can push some more light on the skin tones. Emphasize the palm here. The rest of the hand will be mostly blocked out by the tree. Alrighty, so we push the light a little more on the shoulders and the arms. Maybe the reflected light too. But I'll zoom you back out. Okay, so that was a little bit more reflected light. Okay, so now we'll zoom back in, go back to the grass. So I was messing around with the fan brush earlier here, but gotta be careful for these little shapes. You don't want them to be too specific. You don't want it to be too obvious that the grass was painted like in one little dabbing motion. This is just kind of a style thing. You don't want it to be too obvious, too uniform with these brush strokes. Just enough to show the brush strokes. Thanks, Grace. Almost there, just about 10 minutes till our time runs out. So thanks, Hansel Dog. Hopefully I fixed the thumb there with the right hand. Hopefully. Trying to push more and more with these. We're trying. Now we can get out a Silverbrush for the all-important string to the swing. Start off with the light first, then the dark. I'm gonna have to stand for this one. It's like the Bob Ross bravery test. Oh, if only I had my T-square. Dang. Oh well. It kind of creates its own light and shadow. A little weird, huh? And obviously this one's easier because she's holding on to it. So it's going to arc. It's going to tuck back in. Like I said, that one's easier because it's arced. Just pulling it. Maybe not pulling that one, but oh well. That's close enough. Now, of course, the tree will cover this one. Okay. So now the light on the string, or rope, I guess. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't think it needs it. Never mind. Just tuck this in the tree. And that actually kind of works. Okie dokie. So like I said, last minute we would add the string or the rope or whatever we want to call it. Very risky move to do at the end, but we did it. Now it's time to add a signature and let this painting go on its way. So let's see, where will I sign? Probably bottom left. Hey T-Poo, thank you, thank you. Wow, at the end they finally stopped with that the hammering and stuff. Lucky me. Today was not my day, everyone. Not my day. Let's go ahead and paint signature. Okie dokie, there goes the signature. And right on the mark, it's 5 o'clock my time. And there you have it. There you go. This one was quite a challenge. I'll say this is probably the most difficult of all of the paintings I've done in this series so far. Not just because of the painting, but just having to deal with that background noise was definitely a challenge. But anyway, before we head out, again, time pretty much expired, but let me just fix any last minute edges that I don't want to look either too sharp or too soft. Again, thanks for joining, everybody. Despite the challenges, this one was definitely a lot of fun. Really pushing the limits of what I can do in this time frame. This probably pushed me right to the very limit. But okay, I think that's about it. The last little edges that I wanted to fix. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. I wish you the very best, and as always, the schedule is Monday through Friday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So that is 1:30 p.m. DC time zone. I wish you all the very best, and I'll see you on the next one.